Oh, here we go. So it's 6 o'clock. Hi everybody. It's Thursday Garden Chat again. God, those weeks roll by so quickly. And this week we have another in our Designer Spotlight series. So I'm really excited about that. But before we start chatting to Matt, just a few things. We've got one more webinar online before Christmas with Jared Barnes over in the States on planting with perception. Really popular webinar. So that's on the 16th of December. We run the Thursday, we've got 2 more weeks of our Thursday garden chats, but we're now going to start putting some of the live events up on the website for next year. Now, if you're a member, you get first dibs, you get a priority booking. So keep an eye out. We've got a newsletter going out this weekend, so we'll mention all of that. So yeah, we will start now putting the live events up so that everybody gets a good long run in at that. And so yeah, just keep an eye on the website really. With obviously we've got webinars booked through into the new year and way into spring. So just have a look through. Hopefully the new website is a little bit easier to navigate. If you've got any questions, just email us. If you don't have to be a member. Sometimes people think they have to be members to do things. You don't have to be a member, but if you are a member, you get priority booking and you get discounts on certain things. So, it's worth having a look and seeing whether the membership is for you. For example, the premium members get all of our recorded material for free. So everything that's recorded on our website, you just have open access to. So, it's have a look through and see if, but I'm probably speaking to the converted because you probably all are members anyway. So I'm going to introduce Matt Evans. Hi, Matt.
Hello. Hi, Annie.
Hello.
Thanks so much for having me.
That's all right. So, yes, another of our designers spotlight, which we had Tracy McHugh a couple of weeks ago, and it's really nice. So, Matt, I think you and I met probably on a garden masterclass course. I think you've been on quite a few,
Yeah,
and I'm
absolutely.
trying to think which would be the first one. Maybe was it Lowther? I can't remember whether
No, it was Avensis Perennials
was it Arvensis. Gosh,
with
that long.
with Giacomo. Yeah. That
Wow,
that was the
wow,
very
wow,
first one.
that
So it
long.
was quite a long time ago,
That
maybe
is a long time ago.
8 years ago, maybe
That is pre-COVID, actually.
pre-COVID days.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Oh,
yeah, I
wow.
remember. Yeah, that was the first one when I came on.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
brilliant. And you've been on quite a few, so thank you very much for being such a loyal supporter.
that's okay. They've been excellent. I've really enjoyed them. The Lowther one was brilliant, and Cassian Smith was exceptional. That was
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
Cassian's was
Germany, yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, thank goodness we did that before Cassian left Hermanshof as well. So, yeah. Now, Matt, you're based in Bath. Lucky you. I know we've got a few Bath dwellers. I can see Chrissy, you're on the list. So you're based in Bath, which is wonderful. And your presentation talks about your background and everything, doesn't it? So
Yes, that's
should we
correct.
just
Yeah,
go
yeah.
straight into that, and then you can, rather than me ask you questions, which you're going to tell us anyway. So,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
if you'd like to go into screen share, then
yeah.
we can. Yeah,
So thanks very much again for having me today, Annie.
it's a pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's great, and yeah, like I said, so I'm Matt Evans. I'm a chartered landscape architect, a garden designer, and a plantsman. I've been working in practice now for te over 10 years, so 11, 12 years now, and worked at many different places. And a year ago, I started my own practice, my own business called Matt Evans Landscapes. And it's been great. It's been been a fabulous year. Actually, a very good year for media coverage as well. So we were named Gardens Illustrated One to Watch. We had our back garden in Colour in the Garden by Lucia Bellamy. Gardens Illustrated new book as well, and also was featured on Gardeners World episode 19 as well. So yeah, it's still available on catch up if you want to watch. You'll also get to see my son Benjamin, who starred in the show.
Oh,
But yeah, it's been brilliant. So in the presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about my background, something a little bit about the growing spaces, and also some of my favorite plants, some of the plants I'm growing at the moment and getting quite excited about. And then also my current project that I'm working on that's also really, I think it's really exciting. It's a new kitchen garden in the Chilterns, so beautiful location. Um, so next I'll flick on to yeah, so I've been working for over 10 years and I've worked at so many different, well, this is the three main companies that I've worked in over the 10-year period. So I've started off my career working very large scale public realm projects with a company called Tor& and Co back in Dorset. And it was a very large firm, very large multidisciplinary firm. So I worked with ecologists, urban designers, architects, everyone in-house. So there was like, 100 and 150 people in the firm. And it's where I learned, the basics really, everything. I trained there, learned all my technical design skills, and decided that whilst I loved it, I wanted to feel a bit more connected to what I was doing. And because most of the projects were very large scale, big public realm regeneration projects, for example, this one in London, I never really got to feel very connected to them, and they're always very large scale. And I'm very much a details person. I love the construction, I love the details, and so I decided to move and jump ship to work with McGregor Smith. Also, a really really lovely company based in Bath. There's about 30 members of the team, so 30 very talented designers, and I worked with them for another 3 4 years. And that was great fun. We got lots of experience working hands-on in the construction periods, and worked on some really lovely public regeneration projects, public realm regeneration projects, in local ones and also all over the world as well. So that was fabulous. And this is one of the projects that I helped design. This is actually for Dorset Police Headquarters, and we designed this lovely well-being garden there. And yeah, it's a lovely project, and lovely to see that completed fairly recently. Um, and then following that, I've always been, I'm a plantsman really at heart. So I love design, love landscape architecture, but I really do love the plants. And so throughout the process, I was very, very into the technical design, very much enjoyed that, but I was always trying to get into more experience working with plants. And I started growing a lot of things in my back garden. I took up allotment plots to get more growing space. And then I realized actually working in a practice like McGregor Smith that whilst it was very very good practice and excellent reputation, I wanted to move to somewhere which would be more in line with what I wanted to do with planting design. And so I searched out and I found actually that Arnie Maynard was based very 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 close, very nearby. So I went for the interview and got the job, and yeah, never looked back really. It was really exciting, and you're thrown in at the deep end there, and it was never easy. It was never easy working there, but it was always really really exceptional projects. And I worked and led projects in Europe, the Americas, and across England as well. So very large scale projects, with very healthy budgets as well. So it was, you were really in at the deep end, and it was really a wonderful place to work because you got so much experience. You're giving a lot of trust, and you're given lots of opportunities to develop your skills as well, with Arnie and the team. So that was fantastic, and especially I loved working in Mexico. That was one of the highlights. So working and designing in Mexico with a whole new team of contractors, whole new selection of plants. Some of the plants out in Mexico are just absolutely incredible. So to work with that material, that planting material out there in the climate, it was very hot. You go to site and you go there in a nice t-shirt, and by the end of the day, you're quite sweaty. But it was really, really great fun, and yeah, quite an amazing experience to be able to do that. So really enjoyed that. And I think the big change for me, so I was fully kind of invested in that, and then my son came along, Benjamin, and I realized suddenly that actually having flexibility and my own time was really important to me. So I decided to start my own practice, where I'd hopefully have a little bit more time. I was maybe slightly misguided on that because having your own practice is actually quite busy. But at least I have flexibility now. So if I need to have the day off for whatever reason, I can look after Benjamin and go in the park or whatever it is. So yes, so founded Matt Evans Landscapes in November. And I guess that's just like a little inkling into my experiences, the reasons. Actually, going back to the differences, I think it's quite interesting because I was trying to think of the differences between working in each of the places, and I think interestingly, I think one of the biggest differences I found working at Terence O'Rourke and McGregor Smith is you're always kind of tied into very specific budgets. And as soon as I moved more towards, so that's more landscape architecture, and as soon as I moved more into, I would say, more garden design projects, more garden led, the budgets were very flexible. And actually, what that means is that, everything can change on site during construction according to how it looks and feels, which is quite different to the way, bigger commercial projects work. Once something's on a plan and you've had something go through, once it's been approved and it's gone through tender, you're quite fixed. Whereas I think, the budgets are quite, in garden design, not always, but sometimes a little bit more flexible, a bit more malleable. So I would say that's one of the biggest changes and biggest things I noticed between working in the I would say, two different areas, garden design and landscape architecture, which do overlap massively. Um, and just a little bit about, so this slide is just a little bit about my company, really. And I was trying to think about elements, what I think about the company, the things that I think about its identity, really, I guess. And for me, it's all about, plant and function led. I love gardens which feel meaningful, where you can walk into a garden, you can see that there's layers of use, layers of history. There's a real kind of depth there, not just kind of one definite style, but maybe a mixture of styles and maybe a mixture of periods. And I'm not against, anything kind of clashing with anything else, actually. The longer I've been a designer, more I'm kind of open to all ideas. And I think so function led for me is as long as it's kind of about the function for me, I love that. And also if it's about plants as well. So obviously working with plants, you're working with living architecture. And so you've got a massive palette there to kind of get excited about. And I think for me as a designer, that's what gets me so excited. Like thinking about a whole new kind of atmosphere in a space, creating something really special with the plants that you're given. So if it can be plant and function led, for me, it's lovely. And then of course because of my background, I've worked at all scales. So I also have the ability to work on projects of all scales. And I've worked at projects, very large estates, currently working on some very large estates, all the way down to smaller urban townhouses as well. So I guess it's kind of I'm detailed focused, but also able to look at the broader picture. And like I said, yeah, detailing for me is really important. So the planting, especially, getting everything just right, and with the hard materials, it's that's that. I guess that's what I'm kind of about. The three sort of principles of the company. Obviously, this is just my first year, so this might well change, adapt, become something different. But for now, this is where I kind of sit with design, and this is where the company direction feels like it's going. So, yeah, and just a little paragraph saying that I like to create distinctive gardens that celebrate a deep love of plants. So it's not just, about obviously the people are very important, but I want people to connect with their gardens and to wander through their gardens and enjoy, every element of that garden, be really captivated by the plants in that garden. And I think one of the ways you can do that is by actually dropping in little edible elements or medicinal elements, elements which have use that can get you very excited. It's lovely watching someone's face when you show them a plant and they go, "Oh, that's very beautiful," and you're like, "Yes, but you can eat this or you can do that with it," and then you see their faces light up. It's just a lovely feeling, and I think I like to do that with design and with plant design as well. So if I can do that, then I feel like I've done a reasonably good job. Okay, and then on to the next slide. So this next section is, am I going okay at speed, Annie? Not too fast?
No, that's great actually. And in fact, what I quite like to do before you move on I'm really interested about the distinction between landscape architecture and garden design, and the fact that you trained as a landscape architect and now you're a landscape designer. I personally like to think there's no barriers and there's very little difference, and that it's designing outside outdoor spaces, it's designing out, and we often struggle at Garden Masterclass to engage landscape architects because we've got the word garden in our title, Garden Masterclass. And a lot of landscape architects, it's like, oh, garden. Oh, no, no, we're not garden
Yeah,
designers, we're landscape.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm really fascinated about you talking about the different scales and the difference and training as a landscape architect. But obviously now you've got the capabilities to do public spaces and private spaces. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I think, like you're saying, there is a massive overlap and there really isn't
Yeah.
a definition at all.
Yeah,
But I
well, I like
think,
to think that too. But I mean, there's
yeah,
a lot of landscape architects who are a very sort of sniffy about garden design, and it's such a shame because hey, it's all outdoor space, you know.
it is, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think that the garden designers bring, garden designers and landscape architects do a lot of very similar jobs. I think working
Mm.
in a garden design practice, there was more of a. I felt there was maybe it's just the practices I worked in. I'm sure there are more plant focused landscape architecture practices, but working more of a kind of garden design setting with Arnie, it was very plant focused.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that was for me was a bit more of the where it kind of there were more of a crossover or kind of more lean towards garden design. But
Yeah.
the scale at which we're working with there at Arnie's, that they're really big, multi-million pound
Yeah,
projects.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. No, very exciting.
um,
Well, how nice for you to be able to try and have worked in those different environments, so you can really get a feel for large sort of commercial and residential. So it's yeah, it's great to have experienced all that really.
Yeah, no, all of it. I've really enjoyed all of it, and I think
Mm,
anyone that works in the industry, I think they'll all kind of say the same. It's a lovely industry to be working in,
mm,
filled with lots of people that are normally in the industry not for money, but because they love it.
yeah,
And I find that time and time again that you chat to people in the industry, and they're very deeply passionate about what they do, and so it makes working with other people and collaborating and with other people, all the more enjoyable. So
sure, sure.
yeah.
Lovely. No, thanks, Matt. That's great.
No worries. Okay, so the next section was moving on to some of my growing spaces. So I've kind of talked a bit about my background and the practices I've worked. And back at the beginning, I guess I realized that actually to be a good designer, I needed to know about plants. And I think at the beginning, I didn't enjoy growing plants, which is really silly to say. But it took me, after a year, I really got into it. And I found that the more I started growing plants, the more I became obsessed. And it's a very healthy obsession, of course. But the more I got into it, the more I became obsessed with each element in each plant. And I spent a lot of time, kind of very late at night, looking through nursery catalogs, and while Sarah and when a young one was asleep. And I still do that today. If everyone's gone to bed, I'll just kind of whiz up and I'll go, oh, there's a nursery I've heard about in the States, and I'm sure other people do that as well. But it's
Yeah,
it's great fun geeking.
yeah.
And so I was trying to find spaces to grow plants, and so basically this was the first space that I found. And I was currently living just outside Bath at the time, and we found there was a bit of private land, and there was a sign saying allotment for rent. And I thought, oh, allotments. Oh, okay, interesting. And it was private land, and there were no restrictions on what you could grow. Normally in allotments, it's like it has to be this much edible or X amount edible. And here there was no restriction. So I was like, oh, I'd love to build a woodland garden here. And it was underneath this, it's a lovely setting, beautiful setting next to the River Chew. And part of the site actually, part of the allotments actually floods annually. So quite tricky to plant in as well. You have to select the right plants for the flooding areas. And lots of different conditions there. And so I started growing plants. And yeah, like I said, this is one of the first spaces I started growing in. Here you can see lots of Camassias. So it's early in May in the spring. Um, so Camassias and Euphorbia palustris, they're kind of nice little classic combo. But yeah, built a wooden garden there and got into my plants quite a lot. And started thinking about combinations of plants and learning about plants. And this is some of the plants this is many years ago now, actually, but some of the plants I was growing at the time. And this is a lovely Primula Maxima Wixii. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's a lovely Primula, very unusual, and it's got these lovely, actually quite variable flowers. So some of them are quite red, deep red. Some of them are quite pale, sort of pinky, like more terracotta colors, but really lovely. And I kind of we had quite a lovely little community of those growing underneath the ash there as well, which is lovely. This is another combination that worked quite nicely, Primula biliana and Digitalis parviflora. And then we've got Adiantum venustum here, and Aruncus horatio and Descampsias, Angelica ebony and Thalictrum rochburnianum. And then we've got Erubia divaricata as well. But it's just some of the plants that I started dabbling with in the woodland garden. And, like anyone that grows plants and designs with plants, the best way to learn is by growing them and watching what dies. You always learn more from when a plant doesn't survive than when it does. So, and then moving on to my home garden. So this is then after we've lived in Cambridge for a few years. I've still got the woodland garden, by the way, and I still tend to it. And actually, maybe it's interesting to see how this differs to this space. I started off kind of making it quite manicured, and actually I realized that over time being quite loose, and I now only remove a few different types of weeds. So I maintain this in a very different way to my home garden. I don't really weed it very often, so maybe 3 times a year, and I let all the Salsias kind of flow in between the planned planting. So it's very loose, very naturalistic, in contrast to my garden, which is just chock-a-block with plants that are all quite intentional. And this is a lovely photograph that was taken by Jason Ingram for Gardens Illustrated when he popped around. This was last summer, and he came around. This must be in June, end of June, and it's just like a Japanese water feature that we put together here. Actually, rolled this down the garden myself. It weighed an absolute ton. Almost lost a few toes, but yeah, we managed to get it in the end. And yeah, Digitalis parviflora again, some geraniums, lots of green, lots of carexes, valerians, astrantias. This is a bit of a shady spot, so everything here kind of flourishes in the shade. And of course the wild strawberries that kind of I actually had a pack of seed of wild strawberry, and I scattered them in the garden and they just took over. So everywhere where there was a gap, wild strawberries grew, and it became this really invaluable ground cover layer. And I say, anyone that hasn't used wild strawberries, be prepared because they are very, the creepy ones they do spread, but it's just so invaluable, and they're pretty much evergreen. They do die back a little bit in the winter, but just that invaluable ground cover that stops other plants coming through if that's what you want and you want a bit more control. It's excellent. And this is another shot by Jason. This is the Paulonia that we planted 4 years ago. And I pollard this every year actually because we live in a very long, narrow town garden. So I have to pollard it back every spring. And otherwise it would be, 20 meters across. It wants to be massive. But so yeah, not ideal for a small garden, but if you pollard it back, it's beautiful and you get this lovely big foliage as well. So big contrast to the delicate kind of flowers and perennials that grow underneath it in the sun below. Um, and I'll skip on to the next. So this is in the winter. So just showing the contrast, of course, between summer and the winter. And there's still a lot going on, with the frost, with the grasses, the Haconocloa on fire pretty much here. And the Calamagrostis brachytricha as well there catching the light. But yeah, just it's amazing the power of grasses, isn't it, in the winter? They're just so invaluable, and you can't believe that we designed gardens without them for so long, or maybe we did, but we fell apart from that. But yeah, one of those things. And then just a quick slide on some of the plants that are less. So I like to grow a lot of unusual plants in my home garden, and I'm always experimenting with plants that are unusual, on the hunt for plants which have different forms, which are partly edible. I love plants that have that edible element that comes through. This is a lovely plant, actually, the rubus lessibrosus. It's a cracking plant. If you haven't grown it, grow it. It's really tough. Has this amazing, delicate foliage, very, very beautiful. Has these lovely, pale, pure white flowers in the summer. So June, July extends through, and then it fruits, and it has these massive. They're essentially huge raspberries. If you can see my screen and my palm, they're most of the palm of your hand, giant raspberries. They're called Japanese bloomberries, and
Mhm.
they are really, really beautiful. The actual, it's a shame because you think the flavor would be incredible, but sadly the flavor is slightly bland. But still, they're really lovely, a lovely thing to have. And actually, if you have them with a little bit of sugar on your porridge, still really super tasty. The second plant here is the Cirsium oleracea. So it's called cabbage thistle. And I've seen quite a few designers starting to grow this. And I found it at Pan Global, Nick Mace's nursery. This year, actually, he had some available. So keep your eyes peeled. But yeah, lovely plant and like a very, very lovely thistle. Needs slightly moist conditions, but I hear it's all edible as well. So edible leaves, maybe a bit more of a poor man's sort of vegetable, so maybe not so tasty. But the roots apparently are supposed to be really, really nice harvested, and I haven't tried them yet. But maybe next year I'll give them a go in the spring, dig up a portion and give them a try in the oven. Um, and then next on to the next one, which is Pteris umbrosa, a lovely exotic fern that I really love. That's really nice. And again, I got that from a specialist nursery. The campanula here as well. This is Hundensis, so a lovely Japanese campanula. Uh, Again, with all campanulas, like most of the parts of campanulas, if you don't know, are all edible. So the leaves aren't very good, the stems aren't very good, the roots aren't very good, but the flowers are really good. They taste like lettuce, like really, and they got a lovely crunch. So quite nice on salads. And they got like how when you eat a flower, there's got the pollen inside, so a little sweetness as well. So
Mhm.
quite a nice plant, lovely looking, and also very tasty and a bit unusual. So ticks all the boxes for me. And then the final one, of course, is the Chilean guava, which is just absolute knockout for flavor. It's got these beautiful flowers, so really gorgeous, beautiful flowers in June, July. And then after this in the autumn, so late autumn, I'm trying to think when I had some, probably October, I started harvesting in my back garden, October, November. So quite late. But again, Chilean guava was apparently Queen Victoria's favorite fruit. Whether or not that's true, I'm not sure. But anyway, it is amazing. Tastes like strawberries and kind of spice. And if you haven't tried one, you should grow one and try them. They're absolutely delicious. Um, And then this is some more plants, and I could probably talk about plants forever, so I won't go into all of these. But but this I especially I put this on this Euphorbia Soroshanica is a really lovely euphorbia actually, and it's very big, very leggy, quite large. You know, probably a meter and a half to 1.8 meters high, so very large plant, but beautiful kind of blue willowy foliage, and really nice with the delicate lunaria there as well. And for all the fuchsia haters out there. I love a fuchsia. I really like a fuchsia. And I've got a couple of fuchsias in my back garden. This is one that I really like. And there are fuchsias and there are fuchsias. And I think it's really important, I think, um not to just because something's not trendy, not to grow it if you love it. I think just grow what you love. And I like this one. And everyone that comes around in my garden was like, oh, a fuchsia. But I really like it and it brings me lots of joy. So I grow it and I think this one's quite pretty. Logan Woods again, fuchsias. They've got the edible berries. So if you didn't know that, you can eat the berries of the fuchsia. They're really really tasty. I don't think any of the others are edible on that page. And then finally, so I've got the one allotments. I've also got a second allotments. This is actually right behind my house, and I built a gravel garden. This is a shot here of the gravel garden. I think it was this summer actually. So this is where I play with my son quite often, and we call it the beach because there's the gravel there, and we fill up the pots, and we kind of move the stones around, and he likes eating the stones. But anyway, it's great fun, and this is some of the plants, of course, just self-seeders in there. But I'm also experimenting with a lot of unusual perennial plants that I'm also growing in there. So I'm growing sorrels in the gravel. I'm growing lots of Mediterranean herbs, and I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Um, I'm growing tree collard, which I'm growing in pure gravel, which is doing really well. Very surprisingly, it's very happy. But yeah, lots of interesting things I'm trying out in here. Some things are really happy, some things not so happy, but it's a great place to learn, and I'm really enjoying having it as a space. I've also got traditional raised beds that I grow a lot of perennial veg in because I'm quite lazy and I don't have much time to grow, annuals and to weed and to do things so much. So what I've done is I've built little communities of plants in those raised beds and growing them all together. So they're kind of looking after themselves to some extent, and it's been great actually. It's been really good. Lots of salads and things to eat throughout the year. So it's been fab so far. Um, and so next, how are we doing for time, Annie?
Oh, you're okay, actually. Yeah, it's 6:30,
Yeah.
so you're doing well. Actually, before you go
Okay.
on, I've got some questions before we get too far down the line. So, absolutely agree with the fuchsias. Well done. I mean, just I think I had a horticultural tutor once that told me never despise certain plants, and it's true, isn't it? Because I mean, fuchsia hawkshead, who could not like? It's beautiful,
Oh,
gently
that's such
white.
a lovely
It's
feature.
gorgeous, isn't it? And
Yeah.
shade, and I mean, yeah. So, and your woodland garden, are you growing edibles in that, or is it purely grasses and ornamentals and things? Well, I know the
Uh,
camassias are edible, but
yes.
yeah. Have you
Yeah, I
got?
am growing. So I'm growing a few things that are edible there. I'm growing
Yeah,
Korean celery, which just
yeah.
does really well down there, loves the part shade. And again, every part of that plant is edible and really, really nice. I'm also growing perennial, what am I growing? Perennial tuber. What is it? It's sweet peas, perennial
Oh,
sweet peas.
oh, right,
And
right.
so you can harvest the tubers.
Oh,
And yeah, they're really lovely.
wow. Yeah.
And I was also trying a couple of other different plants. Sorry, but my brain's gone a bit
That's right.
empty.
I know
But
you've got a rotten cold and you're doing amazingly well.
yeah, I know it's one of the pros of having a newly born child,
Yeah,
almost, maybe a
bringing all
couple
the
of years
colds
older.
back in. And your gravel garden on your allotment, have you, I mean, I'm thinking about allotments that I've been to in the past where I'm sure if somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to have a gravel garden here," there would be a lot of staring down the nose at you. So are the allotments in Bath really laid back, all the allotment holders? It's like
Oh,
anything goes. So
I'll be honest. I've had
you've had
quite a
a
few
few
letters
comments, have
about
you?
it. Well, I had some letters from the allotments,
Oh, really?
and yeah, they weren't so pleased.
Oh,
And
really?
well, they were really worried about it. They thought that I was going to build a house, or
Oh my God.
someone called it the car park when it
Oh,
first
for
got put
goodness
in,
sake. Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
it was 11 tons of gravel, so it was
Oh,
quite a lot.
wow, wow,
It's all recycled, so and
Yeah,
it's like recycled from an old
yeah,
quarry. So
yeah.
it's not kind of new stuff.
Have people
Um,
have people calmed down a bit now, now that it's sort of in and they know what you're doing?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
what I did for a long time afterwards, when anyone walked past, I'd kind of give them a little tour and I'd tell them
Yeah.
about it and I'd
Yeah.
show this is edible, this is edible,
Oh,
and actually
fantastic.
started like tasting things together with
Oh,
people. And
lovely.
yeah, so people are really kind of they're welcoming of it now,
Yeah.
and even the council they haven't sent me any letters recently, so I
Yeah,
think
good, good. And then the final question on that last batch was with the terrace fern. You mentioned a specialist nursery. Was that down the one near Bruton, Longacre or not? No,
so. This one here,
the
Pteris
terrace. Yeah,
ambrosa.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so this is from Edulus. If you don't know Edulus,
Edulous. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, oh my goodness, their selection's amazing. Really, really
Right.
good. So yeah, well worth a visit there. I think I don't remember his name now. That's very bad of me. I've been there and I know the guy quite well.
Yeah, yeah, no,
So
that's fine
just
because I was thinking
yeah,
there's Longacre near Bruton, which does shade and lots of amazing ferns.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but then
It,
okay, so the rubus that you are raving about, so does that grow in a more shrubby format, or is it much more of a ground cover format? How is that?
So the rubus is quite it spreads. It kind of if given the space, it will
Yeah,
form like a little thicket.
right. Yeah,
So it kind of likes to spread not too aggressively, I found, but it
yeah,
does spread quite well.
yeah.
And I would say maybe 50 centimeters, so more ground
Right. So
cover,
so it
40,
kind of grows
50
up
perhaps.
rather than, but it does. Yeah, like most rubus will cover the ground a bit, won't they? Yeah, yeah,
It does, yeah. But
yeah. And it
the
looks
leaf,
beautiful. Yeah.
oh, it's so nice. This is actually I'm sorry, I can't take full credit for the photograph. This is actually Jason
Is
Ingram,
it
and
adjacent? Oh, yeah,
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 that the
yeah, yeah.
first and the last are both Jason, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
three middle ones are mine.
He's fantastic. Yeah. No, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. There was just a few little questions. So yeah,
Yeah, no worries. No, it's a cracking plant, and like I said, I have it in dry shade, so very
yeah.
dry shade tolerant, very happy in dry
Excellent.
shade, and
Excellent.
lovely fruits. Cracking plant. Do give it a go.
Brilliant.
Um, so then this is next. So yeah, like I said, the practice is a year old. So I've got a few larger projects, but I don't have permission to talk about those today. But one project, this is a project that I'm working on that I'm really passionate about, that I absolutely love. And it's based in the Chilterns. This is the view from the space,
Oh,
from the garden.
wow. Yeah.
It's absolutely stunning. You've got these amazing chalk streams nearby, this beautiful selection of hornbeams, and lovely rolling hills. It's a really, really beautiful location. And essentially, the idea is that we're looking to. I was approached by the client. They wanted to build a kitchen garden for a new pub that they're doing, and the whole concept is it's farm to fork.
Hmm.
Um, so, whatever you see in the farm is, so whatever you see, you kind of get on your plate essentially. And so they approached me. I've got a relatively good knowledge of plants, and they want to do something quite exciting with edible plants and unusual edible things, forgotten vegetables. And so we kind of got together, and they're also working with a very well-known chef as well called Charlie Jeffries. So he features on MasterChef The Professionals. He's very talented young chef, exceptional eye for detail, and actually amazing. We've been on a few. I'll go into it in a minute, but we've been on a few nursery visits together, and selecting plants for the menu and thinking about really getting into the detail about the plants. At the end of the day, we want something to be creative space. It's quite immersive as well. So we're looking to create farm to fork, immersive dining, a kitchen garden sort of feel. But again, very honest. So we want it to feel very function driven. We didn't want it to feel too showy, kind of more about the views, about a growing space. So it feels like it's a growing space, not too kind of flashy. Um, and then again, like I was saying, bringing in lots of vegetables that aren't commonly seen for use on the menu. And because it's not a massive space, it's a relatively small space. The idea was to bring in, lots of plants that are very difficult to get if you're trying to source plants as a chef, but things that you can have fresh straight from the garden. So lots of herbs, lots of perennial vegetables that can look after themselves in relatively low maintenance, and to create this really sort of lovely agricultural feeling space with lots of layers that just feels really quite soft and quite immersive. So bringing all those different elements together has been quite a challenge because there's a lot going on, but it's been really, really exciting and a lovely project to work on. This is Charlie, and we went to Incredible Vegetables, and we went tasting a and I don't know if you guys have been. It's based down in Devon, so a plant nursery that specialises in unusual edibles, perennial vegetables, and at the end of the day, it's just cracking. It's just a wonderful place to go. She's got these amazing tunnels filled with this is all perennial kales and tree collards. Look how high the tree collards are. They're massive things,
And what's the name
completely
of the nursery again, Matt?
incredible vegetables.
Incredible Vegetables, right?
Yeah, a
Okay.
really lovely selection of plants and lots of very unusual things that you wouldn't think you would find, you can't find anywhere else really.
And whereabouts
Um,
in Devon is it?
I'll be honest, I just typed into sat nav,
Oh, right.
but
Is it near the sea? Is it
so
North Devon, South Devon, or
I think it's kind of central Devon. So
Okay, okay, yeah.
excuse me.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, so cracking nursery, and
Yeah.
literally polytunnels fill with these amazing kales,
Hmm.
skirrets up to your ears, tree collards everywhere, these massive tree collards that got these amazing leaves. So Korean celery, all these plants that she's growing, and lovely team of people there that look after it. So yeah, it's absolutely cracking. And Charlie, there being the chef, we went together
Hmm.
and looking for ideas, and we were very lucky. We were able to taste lots of different things as we were going. And Charlie made some incredibly detailed notes. The notes he sent through afterwards were just mind blowing. Like all you could just see his chef's head was on, sending through all these ideas. And so he's also worked at the Michelin Star de Dorchester, which is three Michelin starred in London. He's worked there for many years, and this is his first outfit himself. So he's really excited, and I'm really very excited to be working with him as well. So it's been lovely collaborating with Charlie and working with him to on the plant selection very closely. Um, and then this is just the overall plan. So this is the pub. And so it's a very traditional looking pub from the outside, but the internals are being gutted completely. And it's going to be a very lovely internals, well designed, very beautiful, and will be very special place to dine, I think. And this is the main kitchen garden here that's south facing. So this is the plan's being flipped to the side. And you've got the main arrival here, which is adjacent to the road, and then a car park behind that actually extends around here as well. And then just a simple back of house there. But the whole garden here is framed by beautiful views of the rolling hills, and there's a lovely large window in the side of the pub here where you've got these beautiful framed views, so you can see how
Hmm.
the seating's been orientated, so you can kind of maximize these views out of here. And so one of the kind of main elements was to create, one of the main aims of this project was to create a garden that was, very good to look at from inside, but also a garden that was very immersive when you're in there, so that you could have outdoor dining and get people really excited about the space and see a lot of the vegetables and lots of the herbs that they're eating actually growing next to them. So really making a very immersive farm to fork feel. The area with the cross below is just to illustrate that actually the views this way towards the road aren't so nice. So that was one of the main considerations, but the views out here are really lovely. And like I said, just yeah, these are the views.
And
Absolutely
is
stunning.
it up and running, Matt, or is it yet to open?
It's yet to open. I'll show you some photos,
Oh,
but
right,
it's
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
hopefully it will be opening next year.
right.
So at the moment it's under construction, and we've made really good progress. We've got a lot of trees that have been going in,
Hmm.
that have gone in this maybe a month ago now actually, in the front and in the kitchen garden. And yeah, so it's under construction, but I'll show you some photographs.
Lovely.
And this is just the concept that we came up with. So very simple, really simple, very honest, just raised beds really, and the seating areas, adjacent to the meadows here, to the farmyards. Over here to block the views that are a little bit less appealing, we came up with the idea of having a walk-in fruit cage. So to fill it with currants and chilling guavas and create this really lovely atmosphere inside of it. So you can imagine people going in there and enjoying a gin and tonic or a coffee and being in this really immersive walk-in fruit cage. Um, and so it serves as a lovely backdrop to the garden, but also frames the views out to further afield, which is really nice. Very simple seating area with a water feature, the raised beds again for growing all your different herbs, vegetables, perennial vegetables, forgotten vegetables, whatever you want to call them, and maybe a few topiaries as well, so dotted through there. The east terrace and arrival, we wanted to really soften this space. And we were thinking for a long time about what to do here, and got in touch with a few nurseries, got some ideas sort of bouncing around, and found some amazing, really beautiful pears, some beautiful old espalier pears. And again, I'll show you some photographs. But so the concept was to soften this whole front and create this really lovely atmosphere. So when you come in from the car park, you have to walk along this almost like a green tunnel. So framed by the pears, and then you know it's a really kind of very intimate atmosphere. So sets the scene as soon as you arrive in the front of the garden here, and potentially a lovely carpet of wood and perennials and plants. And also chatting to Charlie to about incorporating a lot of plants in the garden for infusions. You know, there's a bar here as well as the good food. You know, it's drinks too. You know, drinks are a big thing. So creating and providing for the menu in terms of infusions and teas. And lots of unusual things. So lots of things, and I can show you through in a minute some of the plants I'm thinking about in this area. But that was kind of one of the key elements of that too. Um, and then this is then flipping in, so from the concept, and that's how it materializes into the more of the detail plan. And so you can see there's a fair bit of detail here on there with materials, with edges, the fruit cage has taken shape. And then you can see these kind of the green squares. These are the pears within the space to kind of frame it. And for the main view as you come out this door here, really beautiful quince. So again, all of the trees have been selected for their use. So the quinces for harvesting, the pears again for harvesting. And I think the only real thing in this garden that isn't edible is the yews, is the yew topiary. But everything else pretty much has been chosen for its edible medicinal use in some sort of way. And this is the front of the pub, and you can see the scale of the pears. So 3 or 4 meters tall, some of them. So really, really beautiful things. But again, creating this quite informal but yet kind of formal sort of approach. So, you know, we didn't want them to be fully symmetrical, so creating quite a naturalistic sort of feel. But again, pears for me, you know, kind of when you think about all those lovely old pubs, and you often see like really beautiful Hispanic pears or apples, you know, in the front, trained to the fronts of the properties. And I thought actually it just felt so correct, so right to have, you know, a beautiful selection of pears here. And when I showed the client the photographs of the specimens, they were sold. They were like, "Yeah, we want these." So really, really lucky to have these and to be able to plant with and to have these as the big transformer at the front of the garden. Um, and the look and the feel. So this is kind of it's meant to feel quite. So you know, you've got those kind of reclaimed flags and sets that kind of set between the flags. And it's supposed to feel. Sorry, my cold's kind of taking over. I'm trying not to cough.
Oh, have a good cough. Don't worry about it.
Thanks everyone. But yeah, essentially it's trying to feel quite loose, quite organic, quite natural, like a, you know, almost like an overgrown front garden, you know, that's kind of adapted
Mm,
and kind of grown over time and, you know, quite kind of wistful and kind of quite magical. And here's kind of just a palette of some of the planting. Um, Nearby, there's some really lovely beech woodlands, and underneath the beech is this lovely carpet of melica. So that's kind of like, you know, one of the foundations of the planting is having that. And then, of course, kind of secondary to that, or maybe more primary actually, is the sweet cicely, which is so good for use in drinks, infusions, food. It's a cracking plant, really, really good in all sorts of desserts as well because it's actually a natural sweetener. So really, really lovely plant, and of course the umbels in March, sorry, in May and June are not a knockout. Sorry, my throat's a bit sore.
oh, you. Oh, honestly.
Um, Again, we've managed to get some fuchsias in here, Annie. You'll be pleased to see,
Yeah, well done. Well done.
which is great. So, but of course, it kind of the concept with the planting was to, you know, when you see pub gardens and they're kind of a bit garish and there's violets and pansies and fuchsias and things. I was like, I don't know,
Mm-mm-mm.
why don't we kind of take that idea, but you know, kind of tone it back a little bit,
Mix it
maybe
up. Yeah.
make it a little bit more elegant, you know.
Yeah.
So this is a lovely violet cornuta. That's Prince Henry, gorgeous, and of course, edible flowers, so fully edible.
Mm.
Fuchsia, edible berries. Acanthus not edible, but you know that's it. And essentially, all these plants together, I think, will form this lovely sort of carpet of almost like a woodland carpet in that area as you come in, and a really green, immersive space. That's the chocolate color of the actual pub. It's lovely brown chocolatey color. So the pears, when they're in blossom, will really pop. They'll look beautiful against it.
Mm.
And some of the terracotta pots we're thinking about using as well.
And whereabouts in the Chilterns is it?
So it is near Henley.
Oh, right.
So
Okay. Yeah.
not far from Henley. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Henley on Thames, it's
Hmm.
about, I think, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But definitely worth next. I don't know exactly when it's opening, but
Hmm.
definitely worth having a look at it when it opens. Again, this is more of a detailed snap of the rear garden. You can see the scale of the fruit cage. It's a really good scale.
Yeah.
And actually, we needed a storage space, and we decided to hide the storage within the fruit cage itself. So keep the beautiful oak framed fruit cage, but actually to have, and I'll show you on the next slide, to actually use, so this is the detail for the fruit cage itself. So it's very traditional Victorian sort of design, but the idea is to make it a little bit more contemporary by bringing in some of the, some corrugated iron sheets,
Oh.
reclaimed. So to make it feel a bit more agricultural and kind of bring that agricultural theme into the fruit cage. So it's not too, not too shiny, not too fancy.
Mm.
And then to cover it in, chicken wire. So
Hmm.
you're kind of paring it back a bit. So, lovely fruit cage, beautiful shape, but then to kind of just, don't make it too shiny. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, it is a kitchen garden, not a Victorian garden. So yeah, so the potting shed sort of sits on the end there, and you've got a little hidden door in the side and some old reclaimed crystal windows. But you can imagine with this as a backdrop, it's going to be really, really beautiful
Yeah.
for the garden. And yeah, just some of the planting for
Mm.
the garden as well. So some of the more unusual perennial vegetables. So this is a lovely plant, wild basil, Clinopodium, really cracking plant, great for tea, and I drink it quite regularly actually because it's quite good if you've got asthma or you've got
Mm.
sensitive lungs. It's very good for like kind of keeping you calm. So really, really nice. And this again, purple tree collards, lots of herbs, lovage,
Oh,
chives,
yeah.
and this is a lovely sorrel, Buckler's sorrel. I don't know if you guys have tried this before. It's really, really tasty. Tastes like Cox's apples.
Mm.
Really nice. And actually, they're just beautiful in themselves. You imagine that on a garnish for a dish,
Mm.
it's just going to be absolutely beautiful. These are European arrowheads as well. And we've got a beautiful trough. I'll go back to we found a really gorgeous reclaimed trough, about 4 meters long, and it's all kind of galvanized and looks really rustic and agricultural. And this is kind of, imagine sitting here with a beautiful quince and this lovely trough,
Mm.
really calming atmosphere. And actually, the idea is to dot a few of these lovely arrowheads into this trough. So you can harvest the arrowheads, the tubers annually. So they're actually edible. And it's a North American plant, but they've got this lovely foliage, very beautiful, quite upright. So it'll be quite distinctive in the trough. Um, and these perennial veg, they're all going to be in these beds here. So all within these different beds like that. And then around wrapping the space is essentially more of a kind of a calmer, more meadow-like feel. So it's going to be lots of herbs, lots of grasses, just to kind of more of a green sort of feel. But I'll flick to that. So this is some of the annual vegetables and things too that we're thinking about using. And then this is again that kind of more meadow-like grassy mix. So lots of the alkathea, the Korean mint, which is a really lovely plant for using in drinks. Salvias, of course, used sparingly, can be really, really nice in drinks as well. Not too much because they can become pretty strong. And then this is actually like a related to rice. So Oryzopsis malaceae, really lovely grass, really, really beautiful. And actually you can use the grains as little, almost like quinoa. So we've got
Wow.
quite a lot of this that we're going to be using. And yeah, it's a really lovely plant. I don't know if you've seen it before, Annie. It's
No, I've never seen it. No, no, no. Oh, actually, I think I've probably seen the grass, but I didn't know it was edible. Yeah.
yeah. No, I've tried lots of things. I've just
Oh.
tried to be sprinkling in the edibles wherever I can, really.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just, it's all about getting as many different plants in there.
yeah,
Obviously you want it to feel calm and not too busy.
yeah.
But so there has been an element of refinement in the garden, but also at the same time to try and provide Charlie with as many things to use in his as possible
Mm.
in his menu.
This project was just made for you, wasn't it? I mean, it's just it combines everything that you love and adore. It's just perfect for you.
It's been a lovely project to be
Yeah.
involved with. Annie,
Oh,
and this
wow.
this is the front. So this is the front of the pub,
Oh,
and
those
these are the
pears.
pears. They're amazing,
They
aren't
look
they?
like they've always been there.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. So when
mm.
like I said, when I showed the client the photos of these pears, we found them in this random nursery in abroad, and they were just kind of just incredible things to find.
Wow.
And yeah, so we've got six or seven, I think, six or seven pairs that we brought in. But you can see the size of the root ball. They're sort of
Yeah.
1.5 meter size, 1.5 meters root ball. And we had to really shrink those down actually because they were even bigger to be able to get them to fit in the space. Um, and this is some of the lovely reclaimed York stone going down. So you're kind of getting this, we might have to prune these back a little bit, but you're getting this sort of really intimate sort of feel now
Oh,
come through the space.
gorgeous. Just
Yeah.
gorgeous. Very relaxed feel. And is it also a pub that you can stay at? Will it have rooms as well or not?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, Anna. Yeah, yeah. So you can go there, you can stay there,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think some of the rooms will be really lovely as well. So,
Yeah.
imagine waking up with that lovely view in the morning,
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
right out in the Chilterns. I think it'd be really lovely.
Fantastic.
So yeah, as well as the food, a lovely place to stay. Found these really great actually because we're trying to source everything reclaimed or
Yeah.
reused,
Yeah.
and so these amazing gate posts really gorgeous things. And yeah, we found these on an antiques dealer online, and yeah, we
Lovely.
just thought these would be perfect just to kind of hang these in the front garden. And we were thinking about gates, and actually thought it quite nice if you see like old properties where the gates have busted, they've come
Yeah.
off in
Yeah.
time, and they've left the gate posts up. We kind of
Yeah.
thought it's quite a
Yeah.
nice like story
Yeah.
there just to leave it just the posts.
Lovely. Lovely.
And these walls will be continued so they kind of terminate here and here.
Sure. And how long
Um,
have you been working on this project now?
so this has been a super fast turnaround. So I got approached in the summer this year.
Wow. Holy
So
moly.
yeah, it happened so quick. It
Wow.
was a bit of a kind of all systems go.
Yeah.
The client just said, "Can you focus on this project solely for a month?" And I was like, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yep,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. Oh my goodness, Matt.
But
Well done, you. Yeah.
it's been great fun, and the
Yeah.
clients one of the best things about this project is the clients really invested in the design. They
Yeah.
love design. They really really invested in it. And I've really enjoyed working with the client. I've really enjoyed working with the chef with Charlie,
Yeah.
and also a really fabulous contractor on board. So I don't know if you've heard of Ryan Alexander Associates.
Mm,
Um, but
no, I
they
don't
are
think so. Yeah.
they're fabulous. So they built so many good gardens. They
Yeah.
work with Marcus Burnett. They work with lots of high-end
Oh, right.
designers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, actually,
um,
yes, I think I have it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they're a really good outfit, and
Mm.
actually, there's a very well-known Andy Sturgeon. You know the Isle of Wight garden, Andy
Yes,
Sturgeon one
yes,
with
yeah.
those amazing walls. They
Yeah.
built that
Oh,
one.
you built those. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Brilliant.
just excellent, and their eye for detail is just very, very good. I get photo updates almost daily, so
Wow. How
the WhatsApp
lovely.
is just it's brilliant because you can get everything just right.
Well, that you can tell that the client is very tuned in to found this amazing property, but also to put such a good team together. So, getting you to do the planting, getting your ace contractors, they've obviously done their homework and
Yeah,
it's paying off. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're fully invested,
Yeah.
and like I said, they really enjoy the design process themselves. I think I
Good.
get that feel. They haven't told me that, but you can
Yeah,
tell when someone's
they're
passionate,
involved.
can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, so it's been a pleasure to work on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Although very very fast paced at the beginning, it's been fab. And then this is the quince. This is a 4 meter high quince that we got,
Oh, yeah.
and that's just gone in, and that's just looking. It's just really unusual
Beautiful
shapes,
shape. Gorgeous shape. Yeah.
gorgeous shape, really special tree. And
Mhm.
this actually, you can say this is where the fruit cage will go behind, so you can see
Yes.
the
Yeah.
dwelling behind. So the
Oh,
fruit
yeah.
cage will come and cover that, hopefully, quite nicely screen that.
Yeah.
And with the pears, you can say the fruit cage will be sort of. You see on this photograph, the fruit cage will sit behind here,
Yeah.
and with these pears here, some of the topiaries we've got as well. So we've got it's the only element that we've kind of thought, you know what, actually, it's quite nice having that story of the multiple uses. So maybe
Yeah.
it used to be an old garden, an old pub garden, and it had, these
Mm.
old sort of topiaries in it at that time, and then actually it
Yeah.
developed into more of a kind of a growing space. And so it's kind of bringing in these different layers and having a bit of fun with it. And
Yeah.
so that kind of topiary element, of course, is it's brilliant for the winter. When you're
Of
looking out for
course.
this
Yeah.
winter
Yeah.
windows in the winter, it will just look lovely. Imagine it with
Yeah.
the frost on it. And so yeah, so that's just a couple of the images at the moment, and that's it. That's what
Watch
I've got
this
to share at the
space.
moment.
Watch this space. How
Ooh,
wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matt. Do you want to just come out of screen share? And if anyone has any questions, please pop them in the chat box if there's anybody who wants to ask Matt any questions. But I mean, I can see, I mean, it's obvious your passion for plants and it just it makes so much sense that you've leapt the landscape architect fence into garden design, more generally, because with that sort of plant passion, I think you would probably feel quite stifled in a traditional landscape design um agency, that hasn't that, because if you're that passionate, you're obviously so
Yeah,
driven by plants, which is wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
But then to also
Absolutely,
have that
Annie.
that real thing about the edibles, that's such a lovely focus, isn't it? And I'm sure, for clients, and I mean, no wonder you've got that amazing job. It's just it really is perfect for you, isn't it? Just yeah, yeah,
Thanks, Annie. Thanks very much.
yeah,
It's just been great fun, and I always think you get decisions in life, and I think the key thing is when you're kind of working and doing your own thing is to do. I think with any job is to do things you love, right? You want to
yeah,
try and maximize doing as much time as possible doing the things you love, and I think that's exactly why getting into planting for me is because that gives
yeah,
me. It fuels me. It's all the food I need.
yeah, yeah,
It's what
yeah,
gets me up in
yeah.
the morning. And so if I can work looking at planting designs and thinking about plants all day, I'm very happy.
But what's so nice is that your approach to trial and experimentation. So your little woodland garden and then your allotment, and you don't feel like you have to conform to these sort of tight restrictions. I love the way that you are happy to sort of just, to grow things, to know things, and to just have. There's a very relaxed feel about what you do, and that just comes across so beautifully. And I can imagine that pub garden is going to have that lovely, relaxed, kind of lived-in feel. But
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
and I just wanted to check. So people, there are tables and chairs in that vegetable garden. So people will be sat out there having their lunch or whatever in the garden. In
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, that was one of the key elements when when they gave me the brief is
yeah.
they wanted to be able to seat 40 people outside.
Right,
And I was
right.
like, 40 people. I was like, crikey, how have I got
Wow.
that many people
Yeah,
in the garden?
yeah, yeah,
But actually, it's been really good. And when you've
yeah.
got a bit of a figure like that, it helps you kind of divide up the space and you
Yes, yeah.
start thinking about it in terms of use. And
Yeah, yeah. Well, sometimes those
um,
constraints can actually be quite helpful, I think, if it's just carte blanche, sometimes that makes life too easy. So have they got a gardener on board already to look after it?
So this is actually something that I don't know actually at the moment. I think
Yeah.
I know that it's going to be cared for by someone in the local area as soon as
Right.
it's in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And I know there's a hunt on for a gardener. So
Right.
like, all gardeners
Watch
out
this
there,
space. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If there's anyone in
What a
near
lovely
Henley or
job.
Oxfordshire, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lovely place to work, and the client is really lovely. So
Yeah.
you'd be in for a win, and there will be a lot of interesting plants. So if you love interesting plants, there'll be a lot of interesting plants to play with. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And we've got a lovely comment from Sue Druin saying, "Thank you. Hope you feel better soon. Wonderful images. They tell the story of the plants. It helps to get the clients excited to go forward," which is so true. But I love that you've got a very eclectic eye when it comes to plants, which is, those little jewels and things that people just, I mean, well, we were talking before we went live about the nurseries in the West Country, and you were saying how lucky because you're not far from Pan Global, not far down
Yeah.
to Newwood in Devon. You've got Derry Watkins on the edge of Bath. If you want
Oh.
unusual things, you don't even have to go out of the city. You've got
Absolutely spoiled for choice round here. It's
yeah,
amazing, and like I said, it's only going to get better with Johnny Bruce's
yeah,
nursery in
yes,
Stroud.
exactly. And Arvensis. I mean,
Adventures.
it's certainly happening in the West, isn't it? Which is great. Which is
It's a
really
lovely place to live, and not too far from Wales as well. I haven't been
yeah,
to Krug. I haven't been to Krug. Is it
right.
Creed?
Yeah,
Creek or is it?
Krug Farm. Yeah, yeah,
Krug
yeah,
Farm. I haven't
yeah.
been there yet. Have you
Yeah.
been, Annie?
No, I've never been. I've
No,
never been.
no.
I'm not sure are they still open? Does anybody know? They may be open, but not doing mail order, because they used to do a lot of European sales, didn't they? But
Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
definitely
no,
on my go-to list. It's one of my I've got quite a few plants from her nursery, and
yeah, yeah,
Sue, isn't
yeah,
it? And
yeah.
yeah, she amazing selection of
But
plants
somewhere
again.
like Pan Global is incredible, isn't it? Because you go in and everything is so unusual. You just
Oh,
spend hours. You can spend hours just reading the labels. What is that?
it's gold, and the best one of the best things about Pangoble is it's got a very established garden there. Nick's got a cracking garden there, and Nick's a very charismatic guy. He loves his plants. If you haven't met
Yeah,
him, go and chat to him. He's very generous with his time as well.
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually a couple of years ago I spent my birthday there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I went
Oh,
there for a couple of hours, and he ended up giving me tea and biscuits, and I was there the whole day.
oh,
chatting about all sorts of things. But yeah, he's very generous with his time, and the selection of plants there is just amazing. There's treasures around every corner, so
Oh.
definitely recommended to go and have a look around there if you're ever wanting some inspiration or a new plant or
Yeah, I
just
mean it is. It's just everything is just so unusual. And the wonderful Chrissy Dale has said, "Incredible Edible is near Totnes, of course. Yeah, it would be. Thank you for sharing Plant ID, Matt. I look forward to a trip to Devon, meet Devon, and a trip to Henley as well. Thank you. And Crook Farm is open by appointment. So thanks, Chrissy, for letting. I knew they hadn't completely closed, but I knew they'd sort of changed format slightly. Um, so yeah, so I just want to
that's
say,
good to hear.
Matt, thank you so much. And what a trooper, because coming out of a rotten cold, bless you.
Yeah,
For
sorry about the I was struggling halfway through there a little bit,
Oh,
but
it's
we
horrible.
got
It's
through.
horrible when you're trying to talk and you want to sneeze and cough and oh, bless you. No, that was a really joyful hour spent looking at your work. And gosh, you will tell us when that cow opens and we can all go and sit
Yes.
in that garden and
Yeah, yeah,
quick. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep
Yeah.
your eyes peeled, and I'm sure there'll be something. I haven't done anything on social media about it yet at all. So
Yeah.
you're actually the first people to see about this project.
Oh wow,
It
that's
was an
hot off the press.
exclusive.
Yeah, yeah. And
So yeah,
the
yeah,
things that you're working on that you can't talk about as well. Gosh, I'm really excited to know what they are. But
yeah, yeah.
presumably, as and when you can, it'll be on your Instagram, presumably.
There'll be some things on. I've
Yeah,
got some really exciting projects that I'll be able to share next year, and so
super.
yeah, very excited to share those.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, yeah. Watch this space.
great. Oh, well, bless you, Matt, and thank you so much for being such a trooper and feeling, not so great. But it's been lovely. So,
Thanks, Annie.
good luck with those projects, and take care and have a nice, warm, hot honey and lemon now.
I might have a hot toddy.
Yeah, I think so. Put a bit of whiskey in it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And
Thanks so
thanks,
much for having me, Annie. Thanks,
it's
I
a
really
pleasure.
appreciate
And
it.
thanks for see you hopefully at another event sometime in the future. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Take
Cheers.
care. Thanks,
Thanks.
everybody. Bye bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.